Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. I am Dr. Nik Nikam, a cardiologist from Houston, Texas. Today, the feature presentation is retirement. As a doctor, when should you retire? What are you going to do with your life when you retire? What are your goals? What does retirement mean for you? And what are you going to do with the rest of your life when you retire? You see, when you join medical school, we have dreams, we have aspirations, we have vision. We want to be the best cardiologist, we want to be the best surgeon, we want to be the dean, we want to produce the most academic articles and be the director of an institution or make a ton of money. I mean, we have all these aims and ambitions, and we have a roadmap, we have a plan. But when we retire, do we have a plan? Do we have a vision? Do we know what we want to do with our life? When we say we are retiring, people have the misconception that this is going to just shut down everything, go home, relax, and be done with it. No, 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 no. You're retiring from your rat race profession, but not from your life. When you retire, you're retiring from your profession, but you're starting a whole new life with your retirement life, which will be with you for the rest of your life. So let's pay attention to the retirement segment as you get ready to retire. So I'm going to share some of the points that retirement related people, what people have experienced, and what people have done, and what are the pros and cons. So you're going to hear both the good, the bad, and the ugly. I should say good. You're going to hear everything: the good, bad, and the ugly of every option that you might think of in terms of retiring, semi-retiring, or leaving the country, or doing whatever you want to do. You want to become a saint. That's your choice. Let's move on here. And first of all, there are a lot of doctors who are working privately. At least it used to be, but now 70% of the doctors are all owned by corporations or hospitals or businesses, entities. But during my time when I started practice, there were a whole bunch of people who were in private practice. And when they got close to 60, 65, some of them wanted to change over to employment jobs, like a full time or a part time job. So let's talk about that. There are pros and cons. For example, I was in private practice in cardiology in Houston at the Texas Medical Center and Sugarland from 1980 up to 2017. When 2017, when my practice started to just go down the hill, I had to do something. But I had been working on finding a part time or a full time job 3 years before that, and as a result, I was able to land a federal employment in 2017. And I moved from one entity to the other. At the present time, I have been still with the federal employment for almost 7 years now, doing for last 5 years it was full time. Now it is part time, and it is actually online. So that means I'm still in Houston. I don't have to go to that place, but I do online reading tests, EKGs, and ultrasound tests, being a cardiologist. So that is, but there are challenges when you go from a private practice to an employment. When you join somebody as an employee, you are their system person in the system. That means you follow all their rules, you follow all their guidelines, you follow all their instructions, you do exactly as you're required to do all the training, do all the certifications, do all your charts on a timely basis, everything else. Otherwise, somebody else is going to be calling you every Friday afternoon after 5 o'clock and say, you didn't do this one, you didn't do this one. I got a complaint from a nurse, I got a complaint from the patient, I got a complaint from the administrator. This is normal. You're going to get this, whether you like it or not. So that's with the employment. Also, when you work for an employment, you're on a paycheck, W-2. That means they're going to take 30, 40% of your money off the top, which is like you'll be working like 50, 60% of the time because the rest of the money is going to go for taxes. So those are some of the things. Whereas if you are in private practice and if you got a corporation, then you can deduct all your expenses related to the business. But here it's a different job. That's a tax related thing. But anyway, let's so there are challenges when you want to go from a private practice to employment. First of all, it takes time. It takes 2 to 4 years to land a employment job. If you're a primary doctor, you may be able to go to a clinic, or you may be able to join some emergency department, emergency clinic, and get a job. But if you're a specialist and if you're in a large town like Houston, it is a challenge. And some people may go on a part-time business. So let's say you got your own business, you started and it's been going on for 30 years. Now you're about to retire, but you don't want to sit in the house. So you decide to go part-time. There are some challenges there too. Tell you. Even though you started the business, you're the CEO and you hired all these people, but as time goes on, you're going to begin to hear, hey, this Dr. Nik is very slow. I mean, he's retarded. He's kind of outdated. He's telling this patient to do all these things. 30 years ago, they used to do. We don't do these things anymore. They try to push you off the cliff, even though it's your business. But you need to be prepared for that. Again, let's face it. If you're working half a day, 3 days a week, you're not keeping up with the nuances in your own field, and you're not able to keep up with the pace because first you don't have the volume. Number two, you just cannot keep up with the advances in the knowledge and the latest literature to be competitive with the young brains. And sometimes some of them really bluntly tell you in a doctor's lounge, hey, Dr. Nik, you're eating our lunch. I said, what do you mean I'm eating your lunch? When are you going to retire? That's another story. People make fun of you if you sit in a dining room. This is a very important topic I want to emphasize that when you were a doctor, family doctor, surgeon, cardiologist, you're used to seeing 20, 30, 40 people making rounds, talking to the nurses, talking to the patients, the families, making rounds in 8 hospitals, getting home at 11 o'clock in the night, dead tired, don't even see your spouse, don't even see your kids, just hit the sack and get up at 6 o'clock and repeat the whole process. But man, when you retire, you got only one client. It is your spouse. What if your spouse is a cranky spouse? It could be a male or a female, it doesn't matter. All you need is one cranky spouse in a family. And imagine taking care of this cranky spouse or dealing with a cranky spouse, only one client, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. You're going to go cuckoo unless you change your behavior. You might have been the chairman of your department, but when you get home here, man, you are here dealing with one client and you have to go by that client's rules. Otherwise, you are going to be miserable. So there is a lot of adaptations that we have to accept because what we were as a doctor, as a recognized clinician in the hospital is not the same as being a part of the family 24 hours a day with a cranky spouse. I say cranky spouse because most of them get along, but some of them don't know how to adapt to their spouse's idiosyncrasies. You see what I mean? That's an important point to keep in mind. Because when you were busy, you didn't have time to analyze and address these issues. But now when you're sitting there every day in front of the sofa and say, oh, you can't sleep on the sofa. You don't eat in the living room. You don't eat in the living room. You didn't do the laundry. You didn't do the dishes. Oh gosh, let me have half an hour of free time. And some people say, okay, when I retire, I'm going to be going on 3 years of travel. Just travel. Just close the door, take my luggage, go with my spouse, visit India, Japan, China, Europe, South America, all this place, which is wonderful. I mean, I'm not a traveler. I don't like, I hate travel actually. I don't like to travel because I can travel through my mind to the rest of the world and see everything that's happening through videos. Anyway, that's a different lifestyle. Anyway, when you travel, there are challenges. Initially, first few months, it will be exuberating, it will be exhilarating, it will be enchanting, visiting places, staying in nice hotels, same beautiful 50 variety breakfast items. I don't know how many you can really eat. And then visiting all these old palaces, eating in fine restaurants, all sounds good. But after a while, you get tired of sleeping in the hotel rooms, getting up, carrying the luggage, waiting, and sitting at the airports. And when you go to a sightseeing, you have to walk a lot, you have to carry all this luggage on your back. After a while, you get tired and say, oh man, I'm glad to get home. And when you get home, because we are not professional travelers, let's face it. As I said, I don't even like to go for 3 day vacation because I got so much stuff here right in Houston. I don't need to go to a place to find something different. I can find everything here in my town. Whatever I don't find, I can see them through other sources. Okay, there are challenges if you want to be a traveler. As I said, you are not a professional traveler. You're not going to be doing this all your life. So this is like a short-term transition, which is wonderful if it works for you and you enjoy it, and just enjoy it. If you get it chance, you have the money to spend it, and you have a nice spouse. But if you have a cranky spouse, you have to deal with it. What can I say? Oh, grandkids. I said, when I retired, I think, I'm going to get a house close to my kids. I can help with my kids, do some cooking, do some laundry, some chores, and take care of grandkids. Be careful what you plan to offer. Everything you do is free. What I mean is, free is okay, but there are challenges. When you are dealing with grandkids, you have to work on their time, not your time. For example, I have a couple of grandkids in town, and they call me at 3 o'clock and say, "Oh, can you pick me up from home? I have to go to a music class." Oh, really? What time? 3 o'clock. Okay, I go there at 3 o'clock. 3:30, the kid is not outside. I'm honking and I'm calling on the phone. They don't answer the phone. I never had a teenager who answered the phone, especially if it's from a family member. And you keep calling and calling. Finally, I say, "Okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'll be there in 5 minutes." 3:45 comes there. I said, "Why are you coming at 3:45? You told me to be here at 3 o'clock." "Yeah, but my music class doesn't start till 4 o'clock. It takes us only 10 minutes to go there." So you got to do a lot of adaptation when you're dealing with kids, especially if they are teenagers. They're going to push you, they're going to challenge you, and they are going to test your patience. You better hold your patience. And hopefully you should have learned that if you had a cranky spouse, as to how to change your perception, your behavior, and your approach to challenges, new challenges in life. So let's keep that in mind. I mean, it's fun, when you get together, at least your childhood memories come back when you sit with your grandkids and kids and have a dinner at the table or celebrate a kid's birthday. I mean, I have lots of pictures of those on my social media page, Nik Nikam, on Facebook. You can watch those. There are some good benefits that come with that, but there are challenges also. Picking up a kid from school and dropping the kid to their home is at least minimum 1 hour's chore, because you are trying to navigate through the peak hours in the traffic in school zones. That's not simple. Okay, that's enough of that. And some of you were really socially active when you were in profession. You were the chief of medicine or chief of cardiology. You were chief of the association. You were the CEO. You've written thousands of articles, and you were in every meeting. You were like the most wanted person in the educational, intellectual field. But if you want to continue the same thing after you're retired, of course, there are a lot of things that you can do. There are lots of events going on in town. There are a lot of associations who would like to invite you because you're a big doctor and they know you are a rich doctor and you can afford some donations. Because what you get from these events or anything else is networking with like-minded people. But at the same time, it comes with a cost. You have to understand the cost could be $250 a night for dinner. If it's two people, that's $500 a night for dinner. And on top of that, if they want donations, it can be anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, $20,000 donations. Because you're a rich doctor, you're a famous doctor, you got a lot of money, and you are the prime candidate. They will even put you on the stage, put some garland, flowers, and you can donate $10,000. Why not? I just want you to be aware of that. Most of this, I have personally experienced all this. Because I'm in the media, I have interviewed all these. There are like 100 non-profit associations here in Houston. I have interviewed all of them on my Triple N Media YouTube channel. I have lots of videos. You can watch them. And when all these associations invite you, one, they want you to buy the tickets, which are like $100, $200, $300. On top of that, when you go there, they have all these cards for pledging donations. So those are the things you need to be prepared. At your retirement age, what is your goal? Is your goal to do this one, which is fine. You have the money, you have the time, you have the clout, and you want to be a social butterfly, that's fine, do it. But not everybody is in the same boat. Because my kids, they're not into all this social butterfly society. They just take care of their kids, they take care of their jobs, they deal with like the parents and grandparents. But beyond that, they don't have big circles like some people do. So it all depends on what your taste is. And you have to understand what is it that you want to do with your life that will make you self-fulfilling, self-enriching, and self like motivation, or I should say meditation. Hobbies. Hobbies are an important aspect of a retired person. And I say this because this is what I really believe in. I'm like one of the outliers as a cardiologist practicing in a major city in Houston. Maybe I didn't save a ton of money like most other cardiologists did, but I had a lot of hobbies even for the past 20 years while I was in full-time cardiology practice. As I said, I'm still in practice. I practice part-time online. I started my practice in 1980, so this is like 43 years into my cardiology practice. I have a lot of hobbies. I'm a public speaker. I belong I used to belong to the Toastmasters. I have a distinguished Toastmasters award, and I like public speaking. I like being on as a talk show for my YouTube channel. I've been on the radio programs regularly, and I make presentations about social events, about social topics of interest, politics, religion, sports, anything, because as a media, we cover all aspects. And you can see a lot of daily postings on my social media page, Nik Nikam on Facebook. So you can watch some of those. Some of my hobbies are like music. I just love music. Music is one of the best forms of stress reduction. It is one of the purest forms of human interaction with an entity, because every note, every pitch, and every interval has to be precise. So it teaches you concentration. It improves your memory knowledge, memory strength, and it reduces your stress level. So I listen to Hindustani classical music. I learned Hindi music, and I just sing and I practice. And I'm also in like a Smule app where you can sing with some of the best singers all around the world, because there are 2-3 million people on that app. So you can interact with some of the best singing people and share your music and just enjoy it. And another hobby which I picked up, I think you can see here, right behind me, here's my Nikon camera. I have been involved with the camera for past 10, 15 years. I spent thousands of hours watching YouTube, learning photography, and I'm more interested in candid portrait photography because in Indian functions, people come extremely well dressed, especially ladies, and they all want to get pictures. So this is where I kind of come into play in terms of taking beautiful pictures, giving them free copies of their pictures so that they can cherish those memories. And as I told you, I got a YouTube channel, radio talk show, and I write these social media blogs, which are of current affairs, especially in this day: tariffs, taxes, interest, inflation, recession, interest rates, bonds, all these things which have a profound effect on our everyday life. So those are some of my hobbies. So I think hobbies are probably your best option to think about because this is something you can do on your time. You can do when you want. You don't have to do it if you're tired or you don't feel like. You can take a vacation. Number three, you go as far as you want or you can do as little as you want. But it should help you to, one, relieve stress, keep you occupied, and make you feel good and fulfill you with your dreams and aspirations as a retired person. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a quick overview of what is a retirement. What does retirement mean for a doctor? How do you define retirement? And as I said, I want to emphasize retirement from your profession is not a retirement from your life. So you're retiring from your profession, but you are just a toddler as you enter into the retirement, post-retirement life. So this is a whole new learning curve, and every step of the way we are going to stumble, we are going to learn, and we have to understand what is our main goal, just as we did when we finished our medical school. And you just stick with your goals, stick with your agenda, and do what you feel makes you feel best, makes you feel enriched, makes you feel fulfilled, and makes you feel accomplished. You have to have a sense of accomplishment in your retirement. I'm not talking about profession, in your retirement, so that you can enjoy every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Nik Nikam. I'm a cardiologist. I started my practice in 1980. This is 2025. I'm still doing part-time cardiology along with all my hobbies I have. And I feel like, I have done it. You can do it too. If you have any particular questions about retirements and the pros and cons, please post them here and I'll be glad to answer that. Thank you so much for watching, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all the 2400 videos we have accenting our life as a doctor, accenting our experience as an Indian here in the United States. Bye. Have a wonderful retirement.